Mr. Steve Reynolds will lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Steve. We'll need a roll call to determine if we have a quorum tonight.
Mayor Coppernoll,
Here.
Alder Walters, oh, she can't. Alder Walters. Here. Alder Martinek.
Here.
Alder Downs.
Here.
Alder Cairns.
Here.
Alder Fruit.
Here.
Alder Tepley.
Here.
Alder McCarthy.
Here.
And Alder Schultz.
Here.
We've got a quorum. Was the meeting properly noticed?
Yes, the meeting was properly noticed on Friday of last week.
Thank you. Next up is approval of minutes. You'll have print copies of those this time. Once the council has had a few minutes to read those, entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
Motion from Mr. Fruit. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Ms. Schultz. Any discussion of the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried, minutes approved. Next up, approval of the agenda. Okay, one question I have, I've got 2 sheets here from people that want to speak to the council. 3 sheets here. Oops, do I have them all? Do I have them all? Good, okay. So what I'm going to do, there's literally 5. Given that, I'm going to move public comment, and we will do it right after we pay the bills, before we do the discussion items. Okay, that's the only amendment I have. Does anyone have anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, Karen and Doug, is there any further discussion of the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. All right, next is City and Utility Department Head concerns. Who's got the microphone? Go ahead, Jason.
I don't have concerns, but I can let you know that in economic development, we continue to work on the congressional directed spending grant, $2.5 million. We're currently working on trying to acquire grant administration services for that grant for the multiple projects that will be conducted under it. Panorama Estates, we continue to receive information that indicates that they will be starting very soon. Storyfield, of course, all of you are aware that we're in the midst of that project. Cobblestone Hotel, we continue to work on a development agreement for that project. We have several CDI, which are Community Development Investment Grants, that are open and being worked on. Darcy plays a major part in that. We currently have one open with Wild Honey Collective. The total grant on that was $230,000, and we're working on the first draw request at $117,000 as we speak. Public Works, under Buildings and Grounds, we're working on some new dugouts at the softball fields in Crosscup Park. We continue to work towards airport master planning through an airport master planning process with the Bureau of Aeronautics. We're in a really big push in Buildings and Grounds right now to prune trees. A lot of them haven't been pruned for a number of years, and so there's a lot of low branch and tree pruning, low branch removal and tree pruning that's taking place. Mowing season's ending, which is good because it allows us to hopefully work on some of the deferred maintenance projects that exist throughout the city. Streets, they're working hard on leaf removal already. Dike maintenance is a big issue right now because we have another dike inspection coming up here in a couple weeks. Standard street cleaning, they have been doing street painting. There's landfill maintenance that they're involved with. And we are beginning to look at assigning grades to our streets. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the meeting tonight. So I think that's all.
Okay, why don't we get the microphone? I know she's gonna let me. Hi, Misty. What's been going on in the clerk's office? I know you guys have been swamped over there. What's new in there?
We have been really busy in the clerk's office, Mayor, and we are missing Amanda.
That's why you're busy.
Yeah, so a little short staffed, but we're plowing through and teaming up and we're getting it done.
Thank you. Okay, we need to cross the room with the mic. You gonna go, Billy, or you gonna pass that off?
I'm gonna go.
Okay.
We're gonna keep the flow. Keep it short. Police department's been plowing along as well. I like that. I'd like to just introduce, she's not here right now, but I'd like to introduce Emma Bloom. Emma was just recently hired by the Richland Center Police Department as our full-time replacement officer that we've been seeking for about 8 months. So it's great to have her on board. She comes to us with 3 years of experience from the city of Lancaster. So hopefully she can get through her field training, which is still a 14-week process. So she has to plow through that as well. And then hopefully by early January, she should be on her own, in her own shift, and serving the city of Richland Center.
Thanks, Billy. What's going on at the library?
At the library, we have a couple of outreach events this month. We'll have a booth at the Trick or Treat Trail, October 24th at Crosscup Park. And we'll also have a table tomorrow evening at the City Utilities Customer Appreciation event. Currently on display at the Story Walk in Crosscup Park is the children's book, Big Pumpkin. Beginning November 1st, the book on display will be one specially selected by Passages for the Beverly Pittman Burns Memorial Walk event. We'll continue changing up the Story Walk with new books over the holiday season and winter months, so it's worth venturing out even when it's cold outside. Over the past weekend, our friends at the library had a successful book sale, bake sale, and vintage library furniture sale. We were able to clear out items from the attic and the basement that were no longer used to raise some funds for our friends, and that helps support our library budget. We'll be closed this Friday, October 10th for carpet cleaning on all 3 floors, as well as closed Monday, October 13th for staff in service, but open on Saturday the 11th in between. And we continue to have a vacancy on the library board for a city resident. If interested, please contact myself or library board president Karen Tepley. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Gold.
Good evening. I guess number one, biggest thing is just want to make sure all utility customers tomorrow night, 3:30 to 6:30 at the community center is our annual customer appreciation night. It's public power week, and just want our customers to come out, get educated from utility staff, and have a nice meal we'll put together. Staff-wise, electric and water are continuing with the AMI install. Electric's changing out poles, doing underground conversions. Wastewater is still working on getting the project on 80 North under the river designed, and we'll be bringing more of that Thursday night to the Utility Commission. Hydrants flushing is complete, and valve exercising will be being completed in the next couple of weeks. Working on budget. State law changed, so your utility bill this month will not have sales tax on electric or gas for We Energies, but from the electric side, that is year-round. You will not see that anymore. Misty, want to thank Misty and the city for putting a benefits review for fiscal year 26, so that was really good. A lot of good feedback from our staff. And one thing, we talk a lot about budget, and we haven't really brought it up, but pilot payment, which me and Ashley love talking about. I think it's super important that folks understand with growth, when the utility grows, our plant value, the city receives a payment in lieu of tax. So today, the utility pays over $500,000 to the city for their budget, and with growth, with new meters, with new infrastructure, that's a big part of helping fix the budget. So just wanted to share that with all the discussions we've had.
So the state got rid of sales tax on electricity
They did, yes.
permanently?
Yes,
That should make some people happy.
yes.
Okay, things seem a little quieter than they were for a while at the fire station, yes or no? The volume of calls, or are we still hopping?
We're still at 186 right now.
How's that compared to whatever
I've
typical?
been on 28 years and it was about 65 28 years ago.
So I know through the winter, when we had a dry winter, I know you guys were out all the time.
The spring was really busy. We had a lot of moisture in the summer and now it's really dry again. So.
We're back to it, so again, a little caution if you're gonna burn, make sure you know what you're doing and maybe don't do it at all.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I think I got every department head that's out here in the room. Did I miss anybody? Okay. Ashley?
Nothing tonight, sir.
Okay. Let's see, Mayor and Older Persons Committee Commission Board reports. I will start with Mr. Fruit.
Just one thing, Mr. Mayor, and that is before our next meeting, we will have trick-or-treating. Public safety this year decided to change those hours. Traditionally, it's ended at 7:30. This year, it will run from 4 until 7 in the city of Richland Center, aligning us with many other communities around us.
4 till 7.
4 till 7.
Thanks. Karen Tepley.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. From the Ad hoc Council Rules Committee, we met last week and we're starting work on just realigning and reworking committees, commissions, and boards. So we'll have another meeting at the end of this month. So watch the website and they are open to the public.
Okay, Tom McCarthy.
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, Rachel.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Martinick.
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Downs. Melanie Walters.
I have nothing tonight, thank you.
And Ryan Cairns.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next up will be the treasurer's report. Should all have in your packet. Any questions or comments, please ask or state. Let's see, how are we doing? Interest rates and then up, down, how's all that looking?
So we recently sent some additional money to the local government investment pool because they do have a higher interest rate than some of the local banks. So we did that. In the month of August, we earned a total of $34,165 in interest across all of our accounts. Some of those are designated funds for particular purposes, but some of that is undesignated and helps fill in gaps in the revenue sources for the city. We did start the month of August with $10.3 million across all of our cash balances and ended with $10.5 million through the month of August.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments regarding the treasurer's report? Okay, next up is payment of the bills. Will the council read the bills? I'll read this. The bills presented on this day, excluding any library fund invoices, having been referred to the Finance and Budget Committee and said committee having duly investigated and audited these bills, hereby make the following recommendation that the city bills presented on this day be paid with the following adjustments and or exceptions. None are listed. It is signed by the members of the Finance Committee. Once the council has had a moment to review the bills, entertain a motion to pay them.
Motion to approve the bills.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second? Second. Second from Mr. Downs, discussion of the bills. Hearing none, all in favor of paying those bills as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's carried, bills are paid. Okay, public comment. Got 5 of them, I think. So how we'll do this, like we had the last several times, we'll have a microphone get to you. Please just stand up when you speak. We're going to limit comments to 2 minutes like we've done each time, and I'm just taking them in the order I got on top of the stack. Is Austin next?
Alright, I'm Austin Hicks, Richland Center, born and raised. I just got a couple things to say here about the Story Field project. I had a lot, to be honest with you guys. This whole ordeal's been kind of consuming a lot of me because it, obviously like a lot of us, we have some history with that area and lots of memories. I can't really get into everything, but So, I think that this whole decision should be made by the people. So the people vote on it, or it'll go to referendum anyways. If the council believes this has the support of the people, we're seeking to take it directly to referendum, why not? The community's basically adopted that since the school got rid of it. We've been using it for years, and I think it should be up to us.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thanks, Austin. Hey, Ruth Wilson.
Hi, my name is Ruth Wilson. Thank you for letting me speak this evening. I spoke at the council meeting on September 24th, and I'm speaking this evening again in opposition to any housing development at Story Field. I am very disappointed with the fact that I just don't feel that our voices are being heard. Several people have worked very hard to talk to citizens of Richland Center regarding Story Field. We have gotten over 400 signatures in person, another 300 plus signatures online, all of these opposing any housing development at Story Field. I'm wondering where those signed petitions are now and who has looked at them.
Okay.
I think that's a fair question. I'm also very concerned about the pre-development agreement. Jason Glassbrenner sent this pre-development agreement to Doug Enke on August 7th. Mr. Enke signed it on August 18th, this is all online, as vice president. I'm wondering what the company name is that he is the vice president of. Has Doug Enke developed any other properties? If he has, was he punctual with his timeline? Because we seems to be trouble with timeline on some projects. Has anyone looked at any of his work? What would these proposed duplexes even look like? I mean, I'm just wondering if you guys have looked at any of this, or are we just going with what he's saying? I also noticed in walking by Story Field that the little pink flags that were positioned have now been moved, so I'm wondering what that means for any proposed green space that was supposed to be there. Also wondering what is happening with the panoramic apartments. I know Jason just said that they were supposed to be starting, but are they going to be built? At the community forum meeting the other night, it was stated that building was to have started on June 15th. If this is not going to happen, what about the developer building duplexes or houses at the panoramic location? Another option for building is on Orange Street. I have already stated at that September 24th meeting that there are many vacant lots on Orange Street, and there are other vacant lots around Richland Center. And those, I had stated those addresses at September 24th meeting also. What I just don't understand is why the city just seems to be so laser focused on housing development at Story Field. Why not explore other options that seem to be out there? Please do not allow Story Field to be lost forever to a housing development. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruth. Alfonso Salazar.
Hello again, Richland Center residents and council members. Again, my name is Alfonso Salazar. I live approximately 20 yards away from Story Field, where my kids utilize the field quite regularly until recent past notifications that they couldn't use some of it for some of their activities. But I just wanted to circle back here. So at the last meeting, I asked whether the city council or its members had advised any individuals or organizations, such as the soccer team, that, so this is the very competitive soccer team, or any other organizations, that the Story Field was unavailable for use. The response given was no. However, I'd like to clarify that approximately 1 month before the post-Labor Day council meeting, the Parks and Recreation Department issued a notice stating that use of Story Field would be discontinued starting in August due to potential property sale. That raises a question now. Why was Storyfield access terminated a month before the council formally introduced the proposal to both the council and the Richland Center residents? Lastly, I'd like to circle back on a comment I made during the emergency council meeting. You know, if the council's goal is to actually act in the best interest for the community members, then the community should have a voice in the decision-making process. A public vote or a forum would allow residents to express their views directly. Based on current feedback, it's likely that many community members would oppose the proposal. If we truly aim to serve the public, then let's give them the opportunity to decide.
Thank you, Fred Detman.
I said I wasn't going to talk.
Yeah.
I said I wasn't going to talk tonight, but listen to Alfonso and some of the other. They mirror my feelings, you know, to the T. We've got two different sides here. There's no doubt about that. Is one right? Is one wrong? No, they probably both have some right to it. But what I hear and what I want to speak to the same as we've just heard. Just talking to a councilman in the hall. Well, there's a lot of people that want it. Well, we can say there's a lot of people that would rather have it the way it is today, or improved on for recreation, you know, whatever. So we both can say, we got a bunch. I think we're at a point of a, you know, a vote, you know, to the community, and take it, you know, to a resolution of the scene, you know, who's right. You know, I think all of us could live with it at that point, but with so many questions on, you know, of what we really want to do with it as a community. Let's let the citizens be heard. That's my goal.
Thanks, Greg. And the last one, I have Mike Duselman.
I can tell you why they won't put it up for a vote, because they know they'll lose. That's why they won't put it up for a vote. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I'm Michael Dusterbeck. I abide in Richland County. I have for close to 40 years. I've seen the gradual, what do you call it, failing, I guess, or in the sense of Richland County as well as Richland Center. And I would like to think that this place could be a booming town. We see Reedsburg growing and booming like never before. We see other towns like Roquelaure has come a long ways from what it was. Why is not Richland Center? We don't even have a grocery store anymore. That's a problem. There's not only that, you know, yes, this thing with Storyfield. I'm for progress. I'm for, you know, some things, you know, and some people may get mad. I'm not pulling punches because I have no vested interest in the whole thing at all. What I'd like to see is a growing community that grows together. And the thing is you got to ask yourself, what is so, how can you afford keeping on with Storyfield the way it is? Who's going to keep maintenance up of it? You know, my mom passed. I kept some things of her, but after a while, you got to say, I can't deal with, or you know, I got to deal with this. I got to get rid of certain things because, yes, as precious as that individual was, you got to move on. That's life. That's life. I don't care where you are. If you can't move on beyond that, you're stuck in a rut. And you know, I'm not against building, but I want to know why and for who and for what, you know, what's the purpose. And also, where is our tax base? What has happened to that tax base? Why are there so few people that are in there? Is there somebody else that's being taken out of the tax base and all of a sudden everybody else that's less than them, if you will, is being burdened with it? These are questions that should be considered. Because one of the things that is happening in this world, all over the world. All the governments are starting to fall. Know that. That can change if you're willing to change as well. This is no longer going to be a materialistic world. The world has not been the same since October 7th of 2023, if you remember that date. Things are changing, and things are changing very, very fast. Get right with your fellow man and your fellow, ones you don't agree with. Start getting right with them, because things are changing. Whatever good, whatever evil one does to another, or even thinks of doing to another, you actually do to yourself.
Hey, Mike, I gotta stop you, man, we're over time.
Now, there's a lot of other questions to be asked, but
Well, see me after the meeting, I'll be here. Okay, next on the agenda, items for discussion and action. Item 3 is emergency purchase notification, Court and Church Street parking lot. Jason, are you gonna handle that?
Okay, this is just a notice to the Common Council that we had to invoke the emergency purchasing clause in the financial policy. That was due to the project that we were working on, the parking lot at the fire station. We had initial bids for removing the blacktop, and in the process of removing the blacktop, we found buried foundations. We found areas that were very soft clay that didn't have the proper gravel base. We found blacktop that was over a foot thick. We found conditions that were not conducive to putting things back. So as a result of that, we needed the authorization to spend, we thought, between $7,000 and $10,000 more on the project. The financial impact ended up being $11,108.44 to prep that parking lot for new blacktop. And so this agenda item just serves as a notice to the council that we did have to invoke that emergency purchasing process, and that should complete the requirements of our financial policy.
All right, I'm gonna walk that back. So this is the parking lot next to the fire station, correct?
Correct.
Could you do that again? What did you guys find down there that requires more money?
We found buried foundations of old buildings. We found areas of the parking lot which didn't have any gravel base. I mean, normally you probably want anywhere from 8 inches to a foot of good gravel base. We found areas that basically had none, and then immediately underneath the blacktop was clay. And so of course clay stays very flexible and moves very easy, so you would just have the blacktop breaking up if you didn't dig out the clay to a substantial depth and replace it with aggregate material. And then we found areas where we anticipated removing 3 or 4 inches of blacktop where there were actually over a foot of blacktop on the parking lot. Probably for some of the reasons I've just mentioned, what would happen is you would place blacktop, it would settle into the clay because we didn't have the proper gravel base, and they would add blacktop. So in order to right the situation, we had to remove a bunch of the substrate and replace it with appropriate fill, so that our parking lot will have the best chance of having the longest life period possible.
Okay, so what do you need from the council tonight?
By simply notifying the council that the emergency purchase was conducted, I think we're fulfilling our financial policy. So this is the official, formal, notification to the council that we did have to do that. It was approved by the mayor, the council president, and Ashley, the administrator, so that's what's required according to our financial policy.
Anything else going on with that project? Are we good to go now?
Well, it's blacktop and painted and people are using it,
Yeah, I
so
see
there we
that.
go.
Yeah, I see that, but I would say nothing else is coming back that somebody's gonna find in the left corner or anything. This one's been an adventure, and it's not on you. I mean, I don't know when the last time was that parking lot was done, but you're literally telling people, foundations from old buildings, God knows what was under that thing. So we're good. Okay, thank you. Item 4, discussion and possible action on demand for action on Storage Field, which was received on the 3rd of October. And that is in everybody's packet. Mr. Wendell, you want to address that?
Sure. Let's see. So, first off, there's reference made to Wisconsin Statute 19.84 in documentation that we're going to be covering. I've printed several copies if anybody wants to read along. I promise I don't bite. You can just come up and grab one. So on Friday morning, I was gearing up to chop wood for a camping trip. Got a call from the courthouse saying the sheriff is trying to serve you, but they don't have an address for you. I couldn't think of anything I've done to annoy my ex recently, so I figured it was probably something related to official duties. So I drove over there and picked up the paperwork. When there, I discovered that they intended on serving you as well. As city attorney, I accepted service on your behalf because I knew you were at work. And when I send this sort of thing out, I call it a nastygram. Basically, it is do this or stop doing this or these things will happen to you. And as you might imagine, it's related to the Storyfield development. And a citizen claiming to speak on behalf of a number of concerned citizens makes a number of demands, specifically that the city council stop any work on the Storyfield project, that they disclose documents related to the pre-development agreement, developer qualifications and expenditures, hold properly noticed public hearing, and restore Storyfield's public purpose. In support of those demands, again, they made a number of claims of alleged abuses or violations of the law. And in the time I took to review this and begin drafting a response, I was informed that the document as well as a press release had been posted in a number of places publicly. And therefore I broke from my normal practice and in consultation with a variety of you, asked that I be able to address it in public session as opposed to a closed session. So the claims in the demand do not have merit. And we'll just go through them quickly. So the first one is that there was an abuse of emergency meeting procedure, Wisconsin 19.84. I don't know what that is. There is no statutory emergency meeting procedure. There's not an emergency meeting procedure in the rules of the council. What statute does require, again, it's up here if anybody wants any, is that for any meeting of a governmental body, and of course governmental body is defined as very specific things, a notice needs to be posted in a variety of places at least 24 hours prior to the commencement of that meeting. Unless, for good cause shown, such notification is impractical or impossible. The example I would use during the county's discussions with UW, there was a time that we received correspondence from the UW system at about 1 o'clock, and we wanted to discuss it at a meeting that was beginning at 4. So we had to amend the agenda to properly reflect that we would be discussing that correspondence. We obviously couldn't know that we were going to be discussing a letter that we didn't receive until we received it, but that is the only application of the open meetings law that I can, I guess, assign to the idea of an emergency meeting procedure. And so there are claims that no written justification was provided to the residents. Well, no written justification was necessary. Even the claimant here acknowledges that it was posted with at least 25.5 hours notice. So we are in excess of what is required under statute. The next claim is misleading public notice and procedural ambush. That appears to just be a misreading of the agenda. Our agendas typically, in preparation of this, I noticed that tonight specifically does not have this. But under the public comment section, there's typically a sentence afterwards saying that the council will take no action on any items originating under this item. And the purpose of that is actually to adhere to Wisconsin 19.84, because if someone raised, if I came in after I got my updated assessment and said, my assessment's wrong, council, I want you to change it, and the council actually took action on that without it being properly noticed, that would be a violation of open meetings law. So there's, that sentence was ascribed to the pre-development agreement motion, which was actually the sole item under the discussion and possible action heading on that agenda. So just, again, a misreading of the agenda. Abuse of Wisconsin's public purpose doctrine. I'm not sure what information has been made public regarding this. I was consulted regarding the public purpose doctrine as regards the possible sale of Story Field. I've issued the opinion that, in my opinion, the transaction meets the burden set by the public purpose doctrine for reasons of housing, economic development, increasing the tax base, all of which have been recognized valid uses by a variety of courts. Disregard for...
You referenced, I believe, some statistics, some information from a recent housing study.
Sure. So 2024 Richland Housing and Workforce Report, prepared for us by Southwest Regional Planning.
Okay, one second. Is the link to that housing study still on our website?
So if you go to Richland Center, wi.gov, on the top, there's a department section. If you go to economic development from there, on the left side, you're going to see city plan studies and maps. And so our comprehensive study, our comprehensive plan is there, as well as the Richland Center Housing and Workforce Study.
Okay, the reason I asked for that right now is for everybody's benefit here. This goes way beyond, for all your benefit going forward. If Story Field never came up, please look at that. You've heard me a lot talking about net new construction and talking about the need for housing. You've heard me. That was an independent study that was done, and you see it right there, June of 2024. A lot of information that may help you way beyond what may or may not ever happen on Story Field, just where the community is and where we're trying to go and what the challenges are. It's there, and it's on our website, and Michael referenced that in his response here. But I wanted people to know where they could find it for themselves, and it's right on the city website, okay?
Yeah, and I just happened to look through their recommendation section and just quickly, there's 3 or 4 of the recommendations that the transaction fulfills. Disregard for Story Field's legacy and intent, that's a non-legal issue, so I don't particularly have an opinion on that. Certainly I understand sentiment. The developer's legal standing and contract validity. One of the members of the public who spoke earlier talked about concerns regarding Mr. Enke's history in the development field, or whether or not he's capable of the project. That's why we will be asking tonight the council to approve a robust developers agreement with numerous protections and performance guarantee, so that he needs to be sure he can complete that project before he enters into business with us, because we are going to hold him to account should he fail to do so. Enke Development Corporation. Enke Development LLC is the company that Mr. Enke represents. I know that question was asked earlier. So should we fail to meet any or all of the demands, they've said that they will file a formal complaint with the Wisconsin Department of Justice Office of Open Government, petition for injunctive relief, and begin a recall campaign and or referendum. Given the period of time before this council meeting, the claimant gave us a 10-day deadline. However, I prepared and sent my response midday-ish Sunday upon return from aforementioned camping trip. I don't see that it was posted in the number of places that the original documentation was, but then upon resumption of business, I had it added to this packet for tonight's discussion, and it basically more thoroughly and in legalese goes over exactly what I explained here today. The one section that I would like to address directly. The claimant, in closing, states this is not just a legal matter, it's a moral one. The people of Richland Center deserve fairness, respect, and transparency for our shared history. In my response, I say, as to your closing, I've stated many times that as an attorney, I am unqualified to advise on matters of morality. You are right that the citizens deserve fairness, respect, and transparency, and I believe, both in my professional capacity and as a citizen, that it has been offered to them. What the citizenry does not deserve is to have the decisions of their duly elected representatives overturned by a vocal minority who can threaten them and their positions rather than attempting to work with them to preserve what they can and/or improve on the project by providing constructive input. However, that choice is yours and yours alone.
Okay, so and that was furnished to the gentleman who sent the demand for action. He sent it Friday, you responded Sunday?
Yes.
Okay, and at this point, I guess open question to the council, is there any action at all that you would like to take regarding this? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda then is, let's see, is the Storyfield Development Agreement. Okay, Jason, so you want to just start at the beginning. We've gone over it a few times, but do it again. So where we're at and why we're here on this.
Okay, so there is an agenda item cover sheet in your packet. This kind of picks up from the last meeting that was held. So pursuant to the Common Council approval of Storyfield pre-development agreement on September 24th, the development agreement for 8 duplexes, 16-unit, zero-step housing project is now presented for your consideration. The developer has completed a preliminary review and deemed the draft acceptable. The city and the developer will continue to work together to finalize the finite details in the agreement. Key details of the agreement include recognizing the substantial private investment and infrastructure obligations, and to incentivize this much needed housing, the city will sell the land for $1. Planning and engineering will begin immediately with site construction to start by May 15th. These are elements that are in the agreement, and once it's signed, they would go into effect. The developer must complete the project within 2 years of construction start. A performance clause requires payment in lieu of taxes if the project is not completed within that time frame. So the city greatly needs the increased tax base and housing, as we've talked about ad nauseum, and this ensures the tax portion of it. So if the developer isn't complete within 24 months, he's agreeing to pay the city in lieu of taxes the amount equal to the taxes due on the fully developed property. So that's a major performance clause that they're agreeing to. The developer is responsible for constructing all required public infrastructure, roads, utilities, stormwater, sidewalks, in compliance with all applicable standards and permits. A few more project facts. Storyfield was obtained by the city from the school district in February 2022. The city and the school shared the cost associated with the legal transfer. The city has worked towards the development of Storyfield since obtaining it. To date, the city has invested approximately $40,000 in legal fees, conceptual engineering, utility preparation, and staff hours towards the project. The infrastructure for the development is estimated to cost the developer between $800,000 and $1 million. The estimated fair market value of the development, once complete, will be between $4 and $6 million. The project is estimated to generate approximately $100,000 in new property taxes annually. Key considerations that the council will need to consider tonight is to determine how much land will be retained by the city for public use. In your agenda packet, you have a number of options, A, B, and C. Can you flip to that? Option A would be the city takes ownership of the stormwater management. So that would be outlined in yellow, and that would involve the city maintaining about 0.5 acres of property. Option B encompasses about 0.9 acres, and it would involve maintaining a portion from Chestnut Street down towards the stormwater detention system. And again, that area is outlined in yellow. In each of these, you'll notice in the lower left-hand corner that there is a little postage stamp yellow boundary. That's because there's a city-owned well facility there. So we would automatically retain that in city's ownership. The third option, option C, involves about 1.43 acres and would involve a portion from Chestnut Street down towards the stormwater detention system, and then an area to the west of the stormwater detention system. That's 1.43 acres. So I guess with that, we're asking the council to potentially consider a motion to authorize staff to execute the development agreement using option, whichever one you feel is appropriate, pending no material changes from the version of the development agreement that's presented. The full development agreement is presented to you in your packet, and as an attachment or an exhibit to that is the pre-development agreement.
Okay. When, as was mentioned before, hold on, you had some pink flags on the ground up there.
Yeah.
Okay. Were those showing one of these three that they're here? Did you have?
The pink flags were option C. But to someone's point earlier, people had moved them when they were initially out. Council was informed that they were out. What they were reflecting was option C.
Hey, what's up, Austin?
Can I stand up or?
Hey, whatever, I can hear you.
So I don't think we're understanding some of these things, how most of the housing around here already is duplexes, condos, apartments. The Panorama building, another one. All the ones that we currently have right now are not even close to being filled. So we're gonna build more duplexes in Story Field that we don't even know if anybody's gonna even fucking move it. If anybody's even gonna move in. More people, they're just gonna move here, sit neutral until they find something else. People don't like looking at apartments and condos and duplexes. That's part of the reason why nobody comes here. There's nothing to look at here.
Okay.
We need to think about
All right,
this.
I gotta stay on here. I got you. Okay, so when the flags were initially placed, it was option C that's in the packet, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so when Susan and Anne Marie Story were here, and you and I met with them at Story Field, you brought the map and showed it to them, and we showed them basically option C. Yeah? Okay, well, that's, I want to stick with that. I mean, that's, I don't have a vote here, but that's where the flags were. That's where I literally told them myself green space would be, because that's what the map showed and that's what was marked out. It doesn't have to be that, that's true, and it is the council's choice, not mine, that's also true. But that matters to me, because I literally stood there with a map that was handed to me and showed them the flags that were placed on the ground and said, this will be green. I would appreciate it very much if it was. And it's for the council to choose. Okay, from there, as Jason just said, options are the councils to choose from, questions or the councils to ask. So before we get any further, does anybody up here have any questions or comments? Yep, go.
Well, based on my motion from the previous meeting, I obviously would want option C that you had up there. But I have a question related to A and B, option A and B. If this was to go through and if option C was selected, does that remove the clauses for easements for the well house that were kind of built into this?
I believe the well house is on a separate parcel itself, so like what we're doing here really has no effect on that well house. And my statement stands that we would always retain ownership of the well house property.
Good question. Any others? Comments? Okay. should introduce this at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so a consultation with Mr. Wendell, to my left, city attorney. He had a conversation with a citizen that just made what seems like a pretty smart suggestion. And we talked about it a bunch, and for the council's benefit and the public's, recommendation is if the council does vote to approve this, to do it by ordinance. And the reason for that, the request from the citizen was literally increased transparency, which makes sense. Because what this does, it's a simple document, and it clearly spells out exactly what the intent of the council is. It's not the same thing as a developer's agreement, so 2 questions about what will the homes look like and all of that, that gets addressed in the developer's agreement, okay, with the builder, and there are safeguards in there for the city, as Mr. Wendell already said, to hold them, I guess, accountable to do what they agreed to do. That's the developer's agreement. If the council chooses to approve in the first place, which we don't know if they do, recommendation actually from Attorney Wendell was to do this by ordinance. So what I'm going to do right now is read that ordinance that he prepared, and it's as follows: Ordinance 2025-08, approving a development agreement for and sale of Story Field. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Richland Center recognizes the importance of housing for sustaining the city's population and encouraging economic growth. And whereas the city has been approached by a developer interested in building 8 duplexes on the property known as Story Field. And whereas the Common Council finds the proposed transfer of Story Field for the sum of $1 for the purpose of this development serves a public purpose. And now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council of Richland Center that the development agreement between the City of Richland Center and Enki Development LLC for the development of Story Field, agreement attached hereto and incorporated by reference herein, and the sale of Story Field pursuant to the agreement are approved, and be it further ordained that City Administrator Ashley Oliphant is authorized to execute the agreement and take such further actions as are necessary to effectuate the intent of this ordinance. And be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect upon its passage and publication. And if approved, it would be adopted by the Common Council of the City of Richland Center, 7th day of October 2025. Mr. Wendell, you recommended this course of action. Why?
For the simple reason of increasing transparency. I am, I guess, proud to say that this has prompted unprecedented in my tenure public engagement, and I feel like we owe the citizenry as much as we can give them in terms of a codification of the reasoning why the decision is being made. It will require some slight parliamentary maneuvering. You'll need to vote to suspend the rules, but I still think it's the better option.
To suspend the rules because otherwise multiple readings were required and so forth.
And you can't pass an ordinance the day that it's introduced.
Yeah, so then that's again, that's not unique to this. That's been done many times here. That's allowed. Under this condition, if an older person chooses to make a motion to approve the ordinance I just read, which again is 2025-08, you do that by motion to
suspend the rules and adopt the ordinance with option C, I believe was the...
Yes, I was going to ask what happens to the option.
And then if someone chooses a different option, that would be a motion to amend.
Okay. All right, so for the public and for the council, that was the advice of the city attorney, and I actually agree with him. Making it easy for anybody to... Yeah, that's twice in the last year. No, but I do, because it makes it easy for anyone to find this document, and it's very simple, and it clearly spells out the intent of the council should they choose to do this, as opposed to just voting on it. It just puts it right there, and so I think he's right. And I don't know the person that called you, but I think they're right. So from that point, any further questions or comments from up here? Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
just a procedural question for Attorney Wendell. Why is this being done by ordinance instead of resolution?
So ordinances are meant to codify decisions meant to be permanent or semi-permanent. Given that the city does not intend on regaining possession of Story Field for the foreseeable future, an ordinance was a better option. A resolution likely would have served the same effect, but again, given the public input here, I really wanted to ensure that the decision made was properly reflected, the gravity, the seriousness of it.
Thank you.
Okay, so any other questions or comments? Okay, then at this point, it's just open to the council if anyone would like to make a motion.
I move that we pass the ordinance as presented with option C.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderperson Schultz. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Downs? Yes? That was you, Steve?
Yep.
Thank you. We have the motion and the second. Is there discussion?
Quick question.
Let's start with Karen. Go ahead.
Wasn't there part of that motion supposed to be to,
Yes?
It was option C.
sorry?
Option C.
Yes, but to suspend.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that would be included in the motion.
To suspend the rules and...
To suspend the rules and then read this page long of ordinance that's written here.
Okay, and proceed with option C. That's your second? Okay, Melanie, did you have a question?
I did. So on some of these options, let's see, option C, it says that the property will be city-owned, but then the developer is going to mow or maintain the property. Is there language in the developer's agreement about that? And do we hold any liability since we would own the property if the developer or one of his staff members, say, injured themselves while they were maintaining the property?
It is covered in the developer's agreement, but Mr. Wendell's probably more able to address the liability factor.
Yeah, we own it. Theoretically, that incurs liability.
Exactly. I believe recreational immunity would still apply like it does in a city park, but I guess I don't know.
I don't want to depend on that.
So the answer is yes, the city would have liability on the part of the property that the city still owns.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Further discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll need a roll call vote.
Schultz.
Aye.
Walters. Oh, sorry.
Walters?
Walters.
Aye.
Martinek.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Groot.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
All right, that motion is carried. All right, so I'm going to take a 10-minute break right now. Okay, guys, let's proceed, please. We can just get going again. Okay, next on the agenda, Finance Committee recommendations and actions, Mr. Ryan Cairns.
All right, number 6, MSA Street Inventory and Pavement Rating Services Proposal. Jason?
Okay, so this is a proposal to acquire services from MSA professional engineers to assist us in our 2025 pavement rating. So the city has about 30 miles of paved streets, and we're required by the state in order to receive general transportation aid. So we receive basically $8 from the state to help maintain our roads. But in order to remain in that program, we have to have our roads graded every 2 years. We've done it in the past, but when I became Public Works Director and I started to review the system that it's in, which is a state-provided system, it's called WISLR, which stands for Wisconsin Information System for Local Roads. It's a software system. The data in it is just not up to par. And so MSA, who's very familiar with their infrastructure and our roads, has said they would come in, assist us in driving all 30 miles, establishing a good grade rating on the roads, which will then allow us to use the software to maximize our future improvements and repairs on our streets. So the request is for council motion to approve the MSA professional service agreement for 2025 pavement rating and street inventory services at a cost not to exceed $5,000.
That will be my motion.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. McCarthy, you got that one, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll need a roll call vote, please.
Walters, do I need the microphone? Sorry. Walters.
Aye.
Martinet.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Okay, that motion is carried.
Thank you. Number 7, Southwest Wisconsin Regional Planning Cemetery GIS System Correction Proposal.
Okay, this is a continuation of the program we started about a year ago. So if you look on the website under cemeteries, you'll notice that we have an actual GIS map that allows residents or anybody who visits our website to click on different spots in the cemetery and to identify who's in the grave spaces there. We also use it for marketing vacant grave spaces. So in the process of creating that GIS layer, there was a lot of data that was inputted, and we did discover in the past year that some of the grid that identifies the grave spaces is not quite accurate. So in addition to the standard maintenance fee that we've agreed to with Southwest Regional, we're asking for an additional $1,000 to kind of move the data, take another step forward in the data and correct some of the errors that are there. So the $1,000 would come from, is an unbudgeted expenditure, and it's again separate from the annual Southwest Regional Planning Commission maintenance contract. The request is motion to approve the expenditure of $1,000 for the cemetery GIS system to do correction work from unallocated contingency.
That will be my motion.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mr. Fruit, is there discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Ryan, was there a discussion on what occurred to make the map inaccurate?
Yeah, so what we had to do basically is we were trying to make maps off of a combination of spreadsheets and old maps that were hanging on walls. So we never had anything digitized prior to the initial effort. And so what happened, as near as we can tell, is there's a discrepancy in the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet lists, like, there's, let's say, 20 grave sites in this row, and it continues on that way. But then the old maps hanging on the wall reflected that tapered down by one, and it was missed largely because we were entering data off the spreadsheets. So as a result, it created that conflict, and so we just got to go back and amend each row that begins to taper in a section of the cemetery. So that we believe that's what occurred.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, we have the motion and the second on that one. We'll need a roll call vote.
Martinet.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Okay, that one's carried.
Thank you. Number 8, Beerbecker Pine River Dike Annual Inspection Proposal.
Okay, this is a request for funding for our annual dike inspection. So in years past, you wouldn't have seen this agenda item. It is right at the point, according to our financial policy, where we just, because it's budgeted, we can just go ahead and authorize the expenditure. But we wanted to bring this forward, to make you aware of a process that occurs every year in the city of Richland Center, which is we hire an engineering firm. It's normally Beerbecker. They've been doing this for years now. They spend a full day out here reviewing all of the different aspects of our dike and stormwater channel system. they create a list of things that we need to make sure to maintain or improve or repair in order that the entire city stays safe from flooding and that we don't lose a dike in a high water situation. So this is a request here. The request to council is a motion to approve the Beerbicker Pine River Dike Annual Inspection Proposal at a cost not to exceed $3,000.
That will be my motion.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Ms. Tapley, any discussion on this one?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is there something that we can be done, was this prior to all this floodplain, or was, because we have so much floodplain going on, is there, with this dike now, can we review all this area? And maybe, you're talking about the control of flooding the city out.
Yeah, so
FEMA is the responsible party, the authority in the regulatory floodplain maps. So the only changes that will come to that, and if there was an impact, which there has been from the dike, it's FEMA that will make that determination. And the most recent maps we have are from 2016, so the dike was in place and factored into the equation.
yeah, the building of the dike, from my understanding, and Ashley probably because this is her former area of expertise, was that the building of the dike actually allowed Richland Center to move property out of floodplain so that it actually lowered our insurance rates for flood insurance, and it provided homeowners with the ability to gain insurance where they previously weren't able, because without the dike, those properties were in the floodplain.
And I would just add on that, anytime you have a dike or a dam, there's still a breach zone. So if we had a tremendous rainfall or something like that we've seen in neighboring counties where they've had a dam break, it breached. So you're still in what's called a hydraulic shadow, so there is still risk. So even with a mitigation tool in place like the dike, there's still a potential for danger. And so FEMA does acknowledge that and regulate accordingly.
Did that answer your question? Okay, so we have the motion and the second. Any further discussion on this one? Who's got the microphone? We need a roll call vote.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Groot.
Aye.
Dudley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Martinet.
Aye.
Right, that one's carried.
Thank you. Number 9, contract recommendation for residential waste and recycling services.
Okay, so in preparation for our current contract expiration at the end of this year, the city issued an RFP for residential garbage and recycling collection services. We received 4 proposals back, GFL Environmental, Pelletary Waste Systems, Republic Services, and Waste Management, a few of whom are in the audience tonight if you have questions. We essentially compared all of the proposals and have identified the top 2 submissions in terms of cost. So we basically have 2 options here. One would involve the closure of our transfer station at a lower rate, and the other would involve a higher cost in order to keep the transfer station open. So due to the lower cost and service impact, staff recommends proceeding with Republic Services proposal in addition to developing a transition plan to close the city's transfer station. Republic has committed to working to develop that transition plan with us, and we would anticipate that closure by the end of March 2026 to avoid any renewal of scale or licensing fees. So we would be requesting a motion to recommend to the motion to authorize the execution of a 5-year contract with Republic Services for residential waste and recycling services, and to proceed with development of a transition plan that includes the closure of the city's transfer station by March 31st, 2026.
That will be my motion.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Downs, is there discussion on this one?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
The one that kept the transfer station open was higher. Would their overall annual cost actually change if they were allowed to close the transfer station also?
It's my understanding that it would not.
Further discussion on this one?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
The Republic Services, the 6 per year large item collection, if I read correctly, the item, and I fear that what our residents are used to in a large item collection is not what would be there. You're limited to an item that is less than 50 pounds and limited to 5 items, which is fine, but 50 pounds being able to be picked up by one man. And right now, I think the city has a problem with stuff on the curb all the time. If we have one monthly, April through September, I fear that we will have items on the curb constantly and not necessarily being able to educate people that what you've typically gotten rid of in the large item collection, if it weighs more than 50 pounds, isn't going to go, and I see that being a challenge.
I think that's a great point, Ron. You're right, because people will put stuff out early, leave it out when it gets, I can absolutely foresee that.
Right, so one thing with that is we've had discussions with Republic and they...
That's why, right behind you. You were worried, did you have your hand?
Oh,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you knew that she was waving at me when you started.
Oh, yeah, sure. I was just going to say that they have committed to helping us through the transition, including communication with residents on the transition itself and what that looks like, and how we can make it work for us moving forward. And so then I was going to ask if you wanted to speak to that. She just had surgery, so.
I didn't get in a fight, it's just a new body part. It's actually increasing your bulk. It's actually increasing your bulk item options, so you have 6 months to automatically put items out there, but you still have the option, like you currently do, to call in at any time for a special request, for a special curbside. Like right now, you're paying for it to be picked up, and we will work with you with the transfer. It's actually a drop site where your residents can go and drop things. We will continue that and work with you guys. You know, we're not dead set on time for what that looks like. We kind of plan to transition and see. We're new here. We've been around. I've been talking to Darcy and Jason. It's been pretty seamless, but we still employ lots of folks of yours in the community. We're here to fix things and work through any type of issue. Right now, residents have to put things in their car and bring them to the drop site. It's a great convenience. You guys might decide with our transition to keep it open and just staff it. We're not saying close it, we're just saying we want to work with you to find the person to staff it correctly.
What, the drop site, could you define, I mean, is that what you're calling what we currently have as a transfer station?
It's a drop site. You guys, we just have our containers there and some compactors. Your residents come and drop off trash, recyclables, metal, all these different outlets, and we would just make sure that those outlets are still available to your residents. We're not saying close the drop site, we just don't want to staff it indefinitely. So we are going to work on what that transition looks like.
Hey, Todd or Ashley, Matt Williams here. Can I talk for a second? Or?
You go ahead, Matt Williams.
Hey, so Township Chairman for Richland Township, we were actually aware of this possible closure, and I guess looking at our standpoint, we have looked out and we have reached out to other situations or possible garbage pickups for our township. Our township is one of, I think, a few that have the ability to use your guys' landfill, which is awesome, which is great, but for the cost, what it takes for the city to, for us to use it and the city to operate it, I really don't believe that it's worth the city actually continuing that. And I know it sounds really weird, but if we can take a multiple thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, and save the city for just operating, 3 days a week, I think as one of the biggest probably contributors to that landfill for Richland Township, I do believe it's like $17 for our per residence is what it would cost us through a couple different providers. So I'm actually pro shutting that down because it does not make sense. The city's fighting a lot of different scenarios budget-wise. It doesn't make sense for the city to continue that. So I just kind of want to put my opinion out there. I have talked to my supervisors, and whatever. So I think we're good on this. And everybody needs to realize that things are getting tighter. So it's not the city saying that, hey, we're not gonna help you. The city's been very good to all the townships on this, but what we need to understand is we need to work together. So, I believe that it needs to be shut down, to be honest with you. I'll probably be the main advocate for shutting that down. So just so you guys are aware.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from up here?
Can I just,
Of
so,
course.
for example, let's say I've got a sofa, it weighs 100 pounds, it's the 1st of July, the transfer station has been, the scale is gone and so forth. What are my options as a city resident? I can call you for a tag.
Are we talking about the transfer station, the Lone Rock transfer station, where you can bring items and?
No, here in town. So I'm.
The choices are, you can call in and ask for an exception if it's one item, and we'll work with you to get that done. If it's within those 6 months, your regular bulk day, we're gonna kind of have to work with residents on what that looks like. Honestly, it's gonna be a little bit of trial and error for a while, but we are gonna figure out how to make it work, because it's easier and cheaper by far for everyone involved. And you should put it on Facebook Marketplace and give it away for free.
Hey, so what you gotta do is instead of free, you gotta put $50 on it, then it'll come next morning.
That's true. Okay.
But I think Ashley, you and I have talked about this a little bit, and I'm not trying to spotlight you, but, I think what Republic is trying to do is, it's a lot more pickups than normal. I really believe budget is a very big concern right now with everybody. And if you start looking at budgets, guys, which you guys have done, you have to look at what's best. And for operating something that the townships use for pennies on the dollar, and the city has to incur a lot of this cost. And I'm telling you, I'm township chairman for Richland Township, but it's not right. It's not right for the city to incur that cost for the few. So I'm really on this big thing I believe it should be shut down.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep, you bet.
Okay, I got one. Go ahead.
Sorry, one last thing. It's our impression that citizens would be able to also drive to Lone Rock or Boswell in order to utilize those sites if
We're
needed.
getting in true. Thank you, Darcy. Okay, I got lost in that. We do have the motion in the second. That's correct. Okay, thanks. Is there further discussion? All right, we'll need a roll call.
Cairns.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley. Aye. McCarthy.
Aye.
Schultz. Aye. Walters.
Aye.
Martinet.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
That one's carried.
Thank you. Number 10, contract recommendation for Simon's operational planning services.
Okay, so the city of Richland Center was awarded a Department of Revenue Innovation and Planning grant in the amount of $62,000 for the purpose of evaluating the operational structure of the Simon's Recreational Complex. The project intends to explore future operational and financial models to ensure the sustainable and vibrant community resource remains. To carry out the project, we issued an RFP with submissions due at the end of August. A total of 5 firms submitted proposals: Ayers and Ballard King, Barry Dunn, Innovative Public Advisors, Matrix Consulting Group, and Northspan. We evaluated the proposals based on the scoring listed there on your packet. And after review, I met with City Administrator Oliphant as well as Simon's Director Mike Hardy, and we would recommend awarding the project to Innovative Public Advisors. The recommendation was reached due to IPA's all-inclusive budget, demonstrated familiarity with Wisconsin municipalities, and direct experience with IPG projects. In addition to this, their proposed 16-week timeline better aligns with our desired schedule for project completion, while the other firms were closer to 6 to 10 months. So the motion would be to authorize the execution of a contract with Innovative Public Advisors for operational planning services, fully funded by an innovation planning grant.
That will be my motion.
Motion by Mr. Cairns, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Tepley, is there discussion on this one? All right, hearing none, we'll need a roll call then.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Martinek.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
That one's carried.
Thank you. Number 11, WEDC Connect Communities Program Application.
Thank you, Brian. So this project came through planning, and Chris Jarvis, who also serves on planning, him and I have been working on this. The reason it came through planning is because it is part of our comprehensive plan. So it just states focus on downtown. Much of the former vitality of downtown has either been left or transferred. Richland Center has the opportunity to maximize existing infrastructure in a quaint historic downtown. So the action is to pursue downtown efforts through existing downtown group, or consider joining Wisconsin Main Street and Connect Community Program through WEDC. This group will take an active leadership role in attracting businesses, improving aesthetics, holding events, and measuring the success of the initiatives, including tracking visitors. And plus, there are 10 more items in that comprehensive plan that relate to downtown. So, as stated, Connect Communities will report annually on local activities, including investment, business, jobs, volunteer activity, and accomplishments for the duration of the program. Hope to, the outcomes would be participants would commonly report increased public and private investment in downtown, expanded community engagement, increased storefront occupancy, improved environment and aesthetics, and increased property values. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. The idea behind it is to work with other groups that are in our community. It would also help the city, because we would be connected to the city as just part of the program. That's how it's set up. So alleviate some of the day-to-day stuff that the city does for events and that type of thing.
Thank you, Karen. My motion will be to approve the City of Richland Center's application to WEDC's Connect Communities Program.
The motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second? Second from Mr. Downs, is there discussion? Okay, we'll need a roll call.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Martinek.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
That one's carried.
Thank you. Number 12, HUD Grant Administrative Services.
Okay, so as the council is well aware, we were the recipient of a $2.5 million HUD Community Project Funding Grant. We oftentimes refer to a congressional funding grant. And it has been earmarked to cover 3 projects: housing subdivision, the improvement of Jefferson Street, and the improvement of Hyde Drive that leads to the high school. The award carries with it a unique set of federal compliance, reporting, and environmental review requirements. It's very complex, and given the complexity and the duration of the grant, spanning multiple projects and several years, staff has determined that professional grant administration services would be necessary to ensure accurate financial reporting, compliance monitoring, and environmental clearances. In accordance with the city's financial policy on professional service procurement, we went out through for a request for proposal. We had 3 firms respond. Some of the criteria are listed on your agenda item cover sheet. Our oversight of financial management, reporting and drawdowns, preparation and submission of semi-annual reporting, monitoring compliance with federal requirements, environmental review, assistance with procurement compliance, subrecipient monitoring, and conflict of interest adherence, conducting all competitive bidding processes required under city and federal policy, and coordinating with the staff, HUD, and project partners to ensure timely progress, documentation, and closeout. So you can see in the table there that there were 3 firms that replied. Ayers Associate at around $196,000, MSA Professionals at $120,500, and Beerbecker Associates at $61,900. We have reviewed with those firms, and especially Beerbecker, and Darcy's done the majority of the legwork on this, but she has reviewed with Beerbecker Associates on numerous occasions. Okay, are we sure that you can meet the request of our proposal, our request for proposal? And their answer is yes. They're quite familiar with us. They are the ones that assisted us in receiving this grant in the first place. So they assisted us in generating different costs that we were able to use to apply for the grant. So they're very familiar with the project, very familiar with Richland Center. And so for those reasons, we have confidence that they'll be able to execute the RFP as it was put out. So our request is that the council have a motion to approve contracting with Beerbecker Associates for grant administration services associated with the HUD CPF grant.
That will be my motion.
Motion for Mr. Cairns. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Downs. Any discussion on this one?
Todd, I forgot to mention that the $61,900 that's projected there is covered 100% by the grant itself. So it is a cost that we can charge back to the grant and be reimbursed for.
Thank you. Further discussion? We'll need a roll call, please.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Martinet.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
That one's carried.
Thank you. Number 13, 2026 Richland County EMS contract.
So currently, the city and many other municipalities are served by the county for our EMS, our ambulance service. That contract ends December 31st, 2025. The county has presented a new contract, which is different from the previous agreements that we've had in place. They're requesting that the contract be executed and returned to them by November 1st. With the short deadline and the number of changes that exist between the existing contract and the new one, as well as the increased rates that they are assessing for 2026, I can't in good faith recommend that the council approve the contract as presented. However, I am recommending that we formally request an extension of the existing agreement to allow us the first quarter of 2026 to work with the county and other municipalities to evaluate the service and potential alternatives. You'll see in your cover sheet, it lays out some rates and how much the city is being assessed each year. But going forward, given the significant increase in rates, which is approximately $52,000 from 25 to 26, and changes that have occurred at the county level, and that is related to the Joint Ambulance Committee, so the oversight, as well as some language that needs to be looked at within the contract. Again, my recommendation is to formally request an extension to allow us additional time to evaluate this and plan for the future. And with that extension, also agree to an increase in the rate that we would be assessed, however, that increase has no capital expenditures included within it.
My motion is to decline executing the proposed 2026 EMS contract with Richland County as presented, and instead authorize the city administrator to formally request an extension of the current EMS agreement through March 31st, 2026, with a rate adjustment excluding capital expenditures to ensure uninterrupted service and allow time for a thorough evaluation of service options.
Motion for Mr. Cairns. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Fruit. Is there discussion? Hearing none, we'll need a roll call.
Schultz.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Martinet.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
That one's carried.
Thank you. Number 14, a resolution authorizing an adjustment to the levy limit for increased charges for joint emergency medical services.
So while the council just asked for an extension of the current agreement, and there's much to be determined, one of the tools we have available for addressing our budget challenges is an adjustment to our levy limit, specifically for a joint EMS. At this point in time, it's not clear as to whether the city and the other participating municipalities will qualify for this adjustment, but it does, if approved by DOR, it does allow us the opportunity to raise the levy to cover the increased cost associated with this service. So that increase of $52,000, we could increase the levy by that amount to pay for this service. A requirement of it is that a resolution be adopted by each municipality participating in the EMS. So that means every town and village, anyone who's participating and receiving service from the county in the same way that we are, they all too need to adopt this resolution in order for any one of us to be able to claim the adjustment. So while it's not definitive at this moment as to whether or not we'll qualify and we can utilize this, we're requesting that this resolution be adopted in the event that we can utilize this tool.
Okay. I have a question on this. That's a lot. I've never seen this happen before. I don't know if anybody else in here has. You have not. Okay, so you said everyone participating using the service has to do this or nobody can do this. We have no control over that. Everybody's keeping up here, right? This is just, okay, what happens? So we're in this, all right, anybody out there who hasn't been following along with ambulance, this is really a sticky wicket, all right? Costs went way up. There's townships talking to other ambulance services, maybe we'll leave this one all over the place because they don't know what to do because it all is big and seems pretty abrupt, but in reality, the contract's been ending December 31st for a while. We're here. So what happens, do we know, if this is affected, if we think everybody did this and then townships start leaving the service? Does that even matter?
It may.
Well, okay. I don't even know what advice to give on this. I'm literally, this is.
Hey, Todd, Ashley, yeah, Richland Township would have to agree with Ashley. It's a bad situation, but there's nothing we can do, I guess, looking forward. So I think if there's a solution behind this problem, that's what we have to do. But like I said, Ashley, you're saying this amendment for the county is going to help. I guess that's where we'll be, so.
Okay. All right, I got another motion on this one. We didn't do that yet, I don't believe.
No.
Just need a motion to,
Motion to adopt resolution 2025-10.
that will be my motion.
Thank you. We have a motion for Mr. Carriage. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Tepley. Is there any further discussion on this one? Okay, hearing none, we need a roll call.
Walters.
Aye.
Martinek.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
That one's carried.
Thank you. Number 15, 2026 Fire Department contribution.
On an annual basis, the fire department does make a request for a contribution from the city to fund the operation of the fire department. Both the city as well as the rural district contribute to this. You'll see in your cover sheet that there is some historical information about the contributions that the city has approved in the past, as well as data on 2% fire dues, which are provided to the fire department. In 2026, the fire department is requesting the same amount as they did in 2025. We will not know what the 2% dues are until 2026. So the total amount that the city would contribute towards the fire service is yet to be determined. However, for the purpose of this agenda item, I'm requesting a motion to approve the requested 2026 contribution of $148,159.46 for the operation of the Richland Fire Department.
That will be my motion.
Motion from Mr. Carriage. Is there a second? From Mr. Downs. Is there discussion on this one? Okay, we'll need a roll call.
Martinek.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
That one's carried.
Thank you. Number 16, 2026 Simon's contribution.
So similar to the fire department, Simons also has a request on an annual basis. Similar again, you'll have the contribution from years prior for Simons. Simons is requesting slightly less in 2026 than in 2025. In the cover sheet, it provides some background information. Both the city and the county contribute equally towards the operation of Simons, and Simons does as well rely on donations from the Simon Foundation to meet all of their needs. And so the request here is a motion to approve the requested 2026 contribution of $53,190.25 for the operation of Simons Recreational Complex.
That will be my motion.
Motion from Mr. Cairns, is there a second? Second from Mr. Downs, is there discussion on this one?
I have a question. So this is a procedural question. So I've been coming to the budget hearings, and we're trying to get a balanced budget put together, but we're approving budget items for next year. Is this how we normally do things?
So in some respects, this is an improvement, and in others it's not. However, for each of those other entities to develop their budget as well, they need to know what our contribution is going to be, and there's a requirement that there is a formal request on an annual basis, so that each of these entities would come before the council and make this request.
Thank you.
Good question. Any further discussion on this one? Or will we do a roll call?
Downs.
Aye.
Cairns.
Aye.
Fruit.
Aye.
Tepley.
Aye.
McCarthy. Schultz.
Aye.
Walters.
Aye.
Martinek.
Aye.
That one's carried. Ryan, you made it. All right. Public Safety Committee recommendations and actions. Mr. Fruit.
We have an application for a temporary Class B retailer license for the Richland County Performing Arts Council. We'll be hosting a Bobby G. Rice concert at 2 p.m. on Saturday, October 25th. This has been reviewed by the Public Safety. It has the endorsement of Chief Jones. The Performing Arts Council has done a good job for the community. It's our recommendation that this be passed. It's my motion that it's approved.
Second.
All right, Mr. Fruit and Mr. Cairns, any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one's carried. 18.
18 is from the same organization, the Richland County Performing Arts Council. The night before, they're planning a silent movie, The Phantom of the Opera, on October 24th. And you'll note with both, no wine can be sold. They've reached their limit, but otherwise they are fine. This again was reviewed by the Public Safety Committee and Chief Jones. My motion is to approve this request.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Fruit, second for Mr. Cairns. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
You got it. That one's carried. Appointments to committees, commissions, boards, I don't have any tonight. Public comment, we did. Closed session, the U.S. Cellular ground lease and panorama development. 19, the chair may entertain a motion to enter closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and 19.851G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Karen gets that one. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Downs. All in favor of closed session, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are now in closed session.